Welcome back to BVM Sports Chalk Talk. This is Scott Procter alongside Matt Morris and Lucas Semb. We are back with another episode previewing Week 11 of the NFL season and a few matchups to watch. We'll start here with Lucas in a matchup taking place in Indianapolis.
Yeah, I'll hop right into it. I want to talk about this week's top game, in my opinion. We got the number one defense in the NFL with the Indianapolis Colts and the number one offense with the Green Bay Packers. Maybe number two offense with the Chiefs, but it's going to be a premier matchup. I just really like what the Colts have. They got DeForest Buckner and Justin Houston up front. They got Darius Leonard in the middle, Xavier Rhodes holding down the secondary. But I just think that the Packers, if you can be good at defense, but someone is so fast, they're able to make such a quick move. Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones. It's so hard to defend that. So this week, I've got the Packers on top, and honestly, I think the Packers are going to, ride this season right into the Super Bowl. I think they're elite offensively, and I think Aaron Rodgers is just playing flawless. He makes something out of nothing with his wide receivers. He's not afraid to take the shot down the field. So, I've got them winning this week over the Colts, and I've got them potentially going into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, definitely liked what I'm seeing from the Packers right now. If their number two wide receiver, Allen Lazard, is coming off IR, that's going to be a huge bump. They have two great running backs in Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. Their tight ends, Tunyon and Sternberger, are playing well. Devontae is, Devontae. And you've seen some improvement from MVS on some stuff that you would hope to have seen from him from the get-go, but he's strung together two good games, so hopefully taking that momentum in. I think they beat Indianapolis, and this is a moment where that defense can step up too and show, I think, everyone why they should be, title contenders. Like you said, you got to go in and you got to beat Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is going to give you a chance to turn the ball over, and they got to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. I still believe the Green Bay Packers to be the best team in the NFC, especially now with Drew Brees slated to miss some time in New Orleans. I do not envision the Green Bay Packers losing to a Phillip Rivers-led squad. Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, that connection is as lethal as any in the NFL. Devontae has scored in 4 consecutive games now. On Indianapolis' side, that defense is an elite unit. Darius Leonard is still one of the most underrated players in the league, regardless of position. But as you mentioned, Matt, Phillip Rivers is going to give you opportunities to steal possessions. I think the Packers do that. Jair Alexander, the Packers corner, is one of the best young players in the NFL, and I envision him and the Smiths up front to give Phillip Rivers a ton of pressure en route to a Green Bay Packers win.
The Colts on defense this year, they're only allowing 19 points a game, under 300 yards a game. They're second in the league just behind the Buccaneers with 11 interceptions. But I just think offensively the Packers are scoring over 30 points a game right now, over 400 yards. You can be as good as defense as you want. But when, Devontae Adams on a 5-yard out route, it's just impossible to stay step for step with that, and Rodgers is going to make you pay.
Something else I wanted to bring up, I'm surprised you guys didn't mention it, and it's a glaring issue on the Packers roster, and it's their inability to stop the run. I'm curious as to what you guys think of if that's going to be, a fatal flaw, as they, move on into the season, into the playoffs.
It definitely could be. They have not been able to, but it really comes down to, you look at the game, I think that you really need to look at as far as allowing the run was, there's 2 games, and it's totally different sides of it. You look at the Vikings game where, because of weather and some other issues, Rodgers can't do the passing game the way that they want to, and then that affects, the how the game turns out. Against New Orleans, Kamara ran all over him, but they still took care of business because Rodgers could use the real weapons of his offense. So the run game is going to be an issue, but it kind of depends on what the rest of the offense is going to be able to do.
I think it'll, fault them to a point, but I think that most of the top teams in the league are going to win with their quarterback and airing it out, and they have, lethal weapons outside. Yeah. So I think it's going to hurt them to a fault, but not too much.
For sure. Let's move on to our next matchup, Matt.
Yeah, another exciting matchup in the NFC West. You have the second time the Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals will play, and this is going to be a big one with a lot of playoff implications, and who's going to kind of take the lead in that division out there. I like what the Rams have been doing. They're staying in it. They're actually, all these teams are tied right now, basically. The Cardinals have the first win at home against the Seahawks, so this will be important if they can sweep. But I think it's going to come down to Seahawks versus Cardinals to win the division. The Rams are good, but I'm going to go with the Cardinals going into Seattle and just making the Seahawks' nightmare, which they're living through right now, even worse. And I think Wilson is going to continue to show some issues with turnovers, and that's going to be the difference. And Kyler Murray will beat him. What do you guys think?
Biggest thing to me for this matchup is health, especially for the Seattle Seahawks. They need to get healthy. First and foremost, Chris Carson needs to return to the lineup. I think he should be slated to return. They need to bring some type of semblance of a run game back to Seattle. Russell Wilson was the Seahawks' leading rusher on Sunday, for crying out loud. The same thing goes for defense. Jamal Adams has not been 100% out there. Although he has been playing, they need him 100% to be a playmaker on that struggling and pretty bad pass defense. The Cardinals have scored 30 points in 5 straight games now, but I just cannot envision Arizona sweeping Seattle in this season series. If Seattle keeps Russell Wilson upright, I believe they win. The loss of Chandler Jones for the Arizona Cardinals is a big loss for Thursday night and beyond. This matchup, although I don't believe that it will ultimately decide the NFC West because the LA Rams are 6-3 and very much alive for the division crown, what I think it will do is catapult one of these quarterbacks, Kyler Murray or Russell Wilson, up to number 2 in the MVP hierarchy, right behind the incoming MVP in Patrick Mahomes. But it's going to be a nice matchup to watch nonetheless. What are you looking to see?
Yeah, so I got my eyes this week, a short week of rest for Russell Wilson, but I really got my eyes set on how he can rebound after a weak game against the Rams. He just hasn't been bringing it the last couple of weeks, and if they want to win this week, they're going to have to stay, up-tempo with Kyler Murray and Arizona's offense. And I think Kyler Murray is going to just attack that porous defense. Ever since the Legion of Boom, that was the last time that, the Seahawks defense has really been reputable, in my opinion. I just think that, if Russell Wilson does, not play as well as he typically does, they're going to struggle to win. And I think that the Cardinals will end up getting the season sweep.
Oh, absolutely. Cardinals are leading in total offense as far as yards go. They can go shot for shot with Wilson. So if it comes down to a shootout, I'm going to take, Kyler Murray in the hot hand right now and go with the Cardinals. So it's going to be exciting. But, Scott, let's hear about your game of the week, what you're excited about seeing this week.
For sure. Let's head over to the AFC on Sunday as Tennessee travels to Baltimore for a matchup with 2 teams that are coming off two pretty bad primetime losses. For this one, I hate to say it, guys, but I'm worried about Lamar Jackson. He's obviously electrifying with the ball in his hand. He's the reigning MVP. He recently tied Dan Marino for the best 30-game start to an NFL career. Rather, he's going 25-5 in his first 30 starts. But the Dez Bryant move, picking him off of waivers, activating him to the active roster, is a move of desperation. And I worry, and I wonder also if the Baltimore Ravens worry about Lamar Jackson's inability to effectively and consistently throw the ball down the field. This becomes even more important when you have a running game led by Mark Ingram, Gus Edwards, and J.K. Dobbins, when you have a championship-level defense, and you have a Super Bowl coach in Harbaugh. It's going to fall on Lamar Jackson in his arms. We know what he can do with the ball in his hands, running around, making defenders miss. But in a league, when you look around at the top teams, they all know who their guy is at quarterback and that he can push the ball down the field. I'm worried about the Ravens, and I'm worried about them in the long haul. Do you guys kind of share a similar worry about Lamar and the Ravens?
I agree, and especially going into this game in particular, Tennessee can do everything that the Ravens like to do just as well, if not maybe a little bit better, simply in the sense that if you want to just make this a hard-fought, physical, defensive game, I'm taking Derrick Henry over, the great 3-headed, monster that the Ravens have in their running back. So Tennessee will beat you that way. And then if it comes down to which quarterback is going to make, one more pass or get that it's 3rd and 7 late, and you need that first down to get into field goal range or to keep the chains moving, give me Tannehill right now over Lamar, which is crazy to say, but until you get that passing game figured out and you're not leaving every week saying, oh, they know our plays, I'm going to go with Tennessee and Tannehill. And, yeah, I'm worried about Lamar and how the Ravens will finish out this season.
Well, personally, I don't think there's a problem with Lamar. I think, to Scott, your point about him airing it out, I feel like he answered those questions last year in his MVP season. He was impressive through the air downfield as much as he was on the ground. But, I mean, you got to expect more out of Hollywood Brown. And then their next man up, though, is Willie Snead. J.K. Dobbins isn't, I don't know what to make of him. It's obviously a small sample size rookie season, but he doesn't look that great. Mark Ingram, he's digressing this year. So I don't know that he has the weapons, but him personally, I mean, he can only do so much, and he does it on the ground. And the only guy that he really has that rapport with right now going downfield is Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
And it's working for him. So I think he needs more weapons, and Hollywood Brown needs to pick it up. To talk about the Titans and Derrick Henry, to your point, I think Derrick Henry's having a weak year, personally. I mean, you can't expect him to do what he did last year every single season, but he's had a lot of attempts this year, not as many yards. He's still getting it done in the red zone, on the goal line. But Tannehill hasn't been playing that great either. Both of these teams kind of struggling, so I think this week it's going to be a good rebound opportunity for both. And whoever comes out ahead, I think they'll just be, atop the totem pole.
Yep, last question before we get out of here. Who do you guys got, Baltimore or Tennessee on Sunday?
Give me Tennessee. I'm going to say Tennessee.
I'm going to take the Ravens.
I like Tennessee to break the tie. I give Mike Vrabel the coaching edge on Sunday to figure out the right defensive scheme to slow down Lamar Jackson and the Ravens' potent run offense, and I think they sneak away with a much-needed win. From Matt Morris, Lucas Semb, and Scott Procter, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time on BVM Sports Chalk Talk.